Greetings, Internet Drinking Buddies. My name is Link, the show's name is Tubbin and Chuggin, and on this episode, I'll be imbibing Carlo Rossi Sangria. Welcome back to the tub, everybody. Now, as I've expressed on this channel, I feel many times I'm much more of a high-proof liquor guy than like a craft beer or fancy wine kind of guy. And one of the reasons for that, I think, is that I tend to enjoy cheaper alcohols as much, if not more so, than the pricey stuff. You know, when I was getting into drinking, the advice I was told among many things was that to start at a low price kind of thing. And if that tastes good, then just keep drinking it. And if not, then spend a little bit more. Now, ideally, this allows you to appreciate some of the more nuanced flavors of the pricier stuff after you've had the lower tier kind of stuff. But, you know, since it was harder for me to start much lower than Carlo Rossi, and I liked it, it's what I've stuck with. Carlo Rossi's been around since 1975, and they have a number of different selections, but I'll be looking at the Sangria today. It comes in at 10% alcohol by volume, which means a 6-ounce glass will give you 1 drink's worth of alcohol. They do sell it in normal 5th size bottles of wine, but I would recommend the 4-liter jug here for the true experience, if you will. You should be able to find that at around $10, maybe even a little bit less, depending on if you can get a deal. And that makes the price to performance really quite appealing. Under 50 cents a drink, particularly when you look at wine, you know, the kind of wine you'd want to bring to like a fancy dinner party, or to your in-laws or something like that. That's going to clock in probably around like $3 a drink. And even something like a Barefoot or some of those like more mid-tier, lower tier options of wine are going to come in $2 a drink, maybe a little bit less. So at 50 cents a drink, this is quite the deal. So as I mentioned, I've been drinking this since I was legally able to, and I keep coming back to it, which should give you some kind of indication about how much I like it. And I think it should also make it so that I can more easily explain why I do like this, as opposed to why I think other people might not like it. Now, obviously, in this select section of the video, I normally talk about like the different ways to drink the alcohol we're looking at, but it's obviously irrelevant with wine, so I'll just take this time to highlight the nice Triforce etched wine glass I'll be drinking this out of. I do think it's quite appealing to the eye. Now with the wine, always we start with the nose. It's like, you know, a fruited sugar, a sugared fruit. Either way you put the prefix, I think it works just fine. Even with a wine, I do think a toast is in order, so let's say most appropriately with wine. I'll just say, to new beginnings. It's home, is what it is. Just, it tastes like home. It's not, and this is the thing, I'm really bad at sort of describing high-priced wines. I think I've gotten at least decently good at describing liquors. And that's kind of the approach I'm going to take on this, which might give you some kind of indication. Because when I drink this, I don't taste a wine. I don't taste, you know, some of the wines that I do actually like, I'll call real wines. I like, you know, like good like dry kind of Chardonnay or something like that, and for reds more of like a blended type thing, maybe a Syrah if I'm like feeling like spending money on it. And those have like aspects I like to them that are hard to describe for me. This is more like a cocktail almost. It's a very like crudely made cocktail, one that I would say is made by like an underage kid trying to figure out what to do with like bad grapes. And they've added in way too much sugar. And it tastes heavy, almost like a cream, but in like juice form, like a juice cream. I love it so much. And if you've noticed, in that sort of description of what I'm talking about here, Nobody that likes wine would like that. Or at least if you're expecting a wine, you wouldn't like it. If you're expecting a sangria, this is called sangria, by the way. I'm not like reviewing the Carlo Rossi, just like cheap red wine or whatever. This is supposed to taste like a sangria with like mixed in fruit, like that kind of sort of deep experience that you would get out of a sangria, as opposed to like a more nuanced, kind of lighter thing with a wine. And it's not that at all. I like a sangria at a restaurant or something, like a fancy bar. They've got like a nice different kind of fruited sangria thing going on. This doesn't taste like that at all. It's like, I guess it's like the Taco Bell to Mexican food. The Carlo Rossi Sangria is the Taco Bell equivalent of true Mexican food. It's not Mexican food. It kind of looks like Mexican food, and it might even try to call itself Mexican food, but really, at the end of the day, it's a completely different thing. And you don't have to like, or you can like both, I should say. You don't have to like one to like the other, but you can like both of them, just as long as you understand what they're going for. If you go to Taco Bell expecting like carne asada street tacos, you're gonna be disappointed. If you go to Taco Bell expecting Taco Bell, on the other hand, I think you'll find a beautiful world of 4 ingredients combined in different ways to be fun and appealing, with a little bit of Doritos integration in there somewhere. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that, I think. There's nothing wrong with a product that sort of mislabels itself. It might be like mislabeled, but it doesn't mean that it's bad, I think, is the core thing. And really what it means is that it shouldn't be treated as wine. It shouldn't be drunk in a wine glass like I'm doing it now. It's just kind of absurd to treat it this way. It should be treated more like a wine cooler type product. But at 10%, that is a hell of a percentage for a wine cooler, for something that you can drink very, very easily, very, very smoothly, very like a children's fruit juice, as opposed to an alcoholic beverage. Maybe the alcohol flavoring of it is just so weird to you that it tastes bad in that way. For me, it just tastes so smooth and elegant that I can just keep on drinking it. So I really do think it's a fun drink to sort of pour a big glass of, like you would pour like a big kind of cocktail of, and just kind of nurse it throughout the night. Because it's just so drinkable, and it's so cheap. You won't even notice that you've had like 3 drinks of it, and you just keep on drinking it and having a good time. Definitely not the kind of thing you would bring over to like Thanksgiving, right? But something I think you keep around and you say, hey, do you want to try this kind of really cheap wine doesn't taste like wine, but tastes pretty good. Don't know how else to express this idea in different words, but what I can say is that I really, really like this drink. And I think that if you go in expecting a wine, you might have a bad time. But if you go in expecting a wine cooler in wine form at a high percentage, you might have a very good time. Okay. So very good. And it just, at this point, you know, it's just kind of, I'm going on memories. It's bringing back that, I'll put the word in here because I've forgotten the term for it, but a taste or a scent that brings back a memory. And it brings back so many joyful memories that I think I'm stuck buying this for life, as long as the price stays as reasonable as it is. As always, let me know if there's alcohols you'd like to see me review, maybe something I haven't just drank consistently over the course of my legal drinking age. But, as always, please drink responsibly.